before we get into the meditation, I'd like to make a few more comments about the horoscope for the conference, which contains several planets in Aries, just to emphasize that the full moon is only a few days away, on the 6th of April, for most of us, I think, depending on what time zone you're in, and that this extraordinary stellium of planets in Aries still holds, I think, to the end of the conference. Maybe Mercury goes into Taurus just towards the end of the conference. But Mercury being the esoteric ruler of Aries, of course, representing the lower mind, the higher mind, and the intuition. Along with Neptune, Mercury and Neptune are the two major factors of buddhi or intuition or direct knowledge. And as I said yesterday, we have Neptune smack bang on the midheaven horoscope in its own sign of Pisces, and also as esoteric ruler of the ascendant Cancer, Cancer the crab. So it's quite a powerful chart, but the Sun, Chiron, and Jupiter stellium, particularly this tight conjunction of these three planets, these three bodies, I should say. The Sun, of course, being a star, Chiron being a planetoid that exists between Saturn and Uranus, and Jupiter, mighty jovial Jupiter, second ray ruler in this first ray sign of Aries. So quite a bit of oomph there. And I guess at the full moon, the Sun, in fact, will catch up with Jupiter a bit more, be closer to it as a conjunction in the next few days. So I mention this also because many of us here are on the second ray of love wisdom as their soul ray. It's one of the most common rays on the planet for human beings, and of course this planet exists in a solar system that is based upon the second ray of love wisdom. That's another more esoteric story I won't get into right now. But suffice to say, the love wisdom ray is the ray of the Christ, and of the Christ ashram, of which all the other 49 ashrams are part thereof, no matter what ray that they're on or sub-ray that they're on. And the other themes to reiterate are the fact that Aries plants the seed. And when you plant the seed in the furrow, quite often the furrow needs to be plowed several times for the seed to take root. And so it is with the ageless wisdom. It requires repetition continually, I find, because we all have different levels of understanding at different stages of our lives. We might have read, for instance, Cosmic Fire 10 years ago and decide to read it again as if it was for the first time, because you have a different understanding in that 10-year interim. And so it is with all the ageless wisdom teachings. There are many levels of understanding. And of course, the Aquarian Wisdom Center is about promoting the major authors of the ageless wisdom, such as H.P. Blavatsky, Alice Bailey, and Helena Roerich, and the dissemination of those teachings, which really, in many ways, have barely been done justice yet. Only been in existence for a little bit over a century or two, depending on which one you're talking about, but which has enough material for disciples and aspirants to the teachings to last them several centuries, really, into the Aquarian age. And they are the dispensation given, in fact, for the Aquarian cycle that we're coming into. The position of Mars in Cancer considerably qualifies. I didn't go into this so much yesterday. The expression of the planets in Aries, because Mars is the traditional ruler of Aries, or the personality ruler. Excuse me. And its placement in Cancer is very powerful because of the fact that Mars is the ruler of the solar plexus center, the seat of the astral or the emotional body. And Cancer is a water sign that is well known for its emotional sensitivity. So when you have Mars in Cancer, you have a kind of double whammy of that potent emotional energy, which can be overpowering, and at times, and Mars is a principle that is related to the harmony through conflict ray. It is a warrior after all, so it's associated with conflict, and it shows quite often within ourselves where the conflict lays that needs to be resolved, or where the opposites need to be resolved on the emotional level. So its position in this chart is important because it really emphasizes the challenges of control of the emotional nature, not just for this conference, of course, but the entire world. And will be in Cancer. Mars will be in Cancer for almost to the end of Taurus, of when the sun's in Taurus to May. So it will have a considerable influence, and it's 2-year cycle, I should say, through each sign. It's just spent an unprecedented 7 months in Gemini, actually, which is something I wrote about and which most of you are aware. So you can see that Mars is in a grand trine formation in this chart with Saturn in Pisces and the South Node in Scorpio. The water grand trine is quite often very intuitive, psychic, if you like, at one level, at a higher level, more the intuition, as per Neptune, Mercury that I was just discussing. Saturn in Pisces is coming to the end of the cycle before it enters Aries in 2025. And I think we're going to see a lot of harvesting of emotional angst that has been generated in the last few years as Saturn goes through Pisces, and as there is a kind of a tying off of many loose ends, if you like, of this particular cycle. So I think a lot of people will have some great realizations about the last few years of experience during this period, and will resolve to take approach in their own life. Excuse me. But Saturn is also in the 9th house of this horoscope, the house of the higher wisdom teachings, the esoteric teachings, the ageless wisdom, and higher education in general. So it's in a perfect place, I think, for this conference. And its link in this grand trine is really underlies this whole theme of the intuition combined with concrete knowledge. So just to mention those few things. So mentioned the moon in Leo as well yesterday. I think we can, oh yes, that's right. I want to mention the fact that I briefly touched upon yesterday, the fact that in esoteric astrology, the moon veils a hidden planet, Neptune, Uranus, or Vulcan, depending upon the intuition of the astrologer, the Tibetan tells us. And as the moon is fairly closely square to Uranus, I'm going to go with Uranus being the veiled ruler here. And Uranus, of course, rules the occult teachings, whereas Neptune rules the mystical path. And so all of us here are a mixture of mystics and occultists. I am fond of saying quite often that we are all mystics learning to be occultists, because occultism is really quite a science. It's really going to be the major science of the Aquarian age that we're going into, in fact, when the mystery schools will be re-externalized and the masters of wisdom, in fact, will be returning to walk amongst humanity. So this chart has got some unique elements that combine the way of the mystic, the way of the heart, and the way of the occultist, the way of the head, two inextricably entwined paths that we have to develop and have balanced within us evenly. So I'll leave it at that for now, and we'll proceed to the meditation, the culture of peace, unification of nations, the healing of nations. And the 5 planetary centers as per this diagram. New York, London, Geneva, Beijing, Tokyo, which redirect energy. The constitution of Europe, what Europe actually is, as discussed in all the presentations yesterday. The 3 major centers on this planet, Shambhala, hierarchy, humanity, and of course the new group of world servers, bridge between hierarchy and humanity. The new group of world servers, of whom many here are members, and of course many in humanity who are not necessarily linked to any kind of spiritual group. And so we have already come into alignment, so I'm going to skip this step. Visualize the light of the group's personality, cohesive, integrated, and aligned with the greater radiance of the group soul, directing our combined light, emanating outward service toward the unification of Europe and ultimately the planet. And so we vision the group soul anchored within the new group of world servers, the planetary Ajna center, the bridge between hierarchy and humanity. In fact, the so-called Eye of Sanakamara, watching over the world. So now we visualize by extending a penetrating laser light through hierarchy into Shambhala, the center where the will of God is known. Penetrating laser light to Shambhala. And we invoke the Lord of the world, Sanakamara, and the right precipitation of the planetary plan. Likewise, we direct another luminous shaft of light towards humanity. And so we bridge the higher to the lower in our light weaving of planetary rainbow bridge. And we ponder again upon the theme of this conference, European unity toward global unification. Inspired from this passage by the Tibetans, quote, workers increasingly will be drawn to Great Britain and to the continent of Europe. From the United States of America, the teaching must go out. But Europe is the field for the education of the world in the ideas of a true world unity, and for the wise presentation of the plan. From that continent can the inspiration go forth to the east and the west. You see another map of Europe here. The extensive landmass we call Europe. So let's ponder upon this statement for, again, focusing on part of the statement, quote, Europe is the field for the education of the world and the ideas of a true world unity, the wise presentation of the plan. From that continent can the inspiration go forth to the east and the west. And so accordingly, we invoke the regent of Europe, the Master Rakotsi, also known as Saint Germain, who works very closely with the one we call Christ. And so now, during this global crisis, where a large part of it is focused in Europe, we direct our attention toward the triangle of Russia, Britain, USA. We recognize that Europe is the mother of the USA. We visualize the luminous points of the triangle, souls of those nations. Second ray, indigo blue, love, wisdom. And seventh ray, violet, ceremonial order. We see these luminous points of the triangle, radiant and with light circulating around the three faces of the triangle. Encouraging harmony, illumination, and of course we see Geneva at the center of the triangle, the eye in the triangle. Geneva, the planetary heart. And we invoke the assistance of the Devas, or angelic kingdom, in their sacred ceremonial duties. We are also aware of our co-workers on the other side, who are watching, assisting, working with us. And so we come back to the visualization vibrant energy continuously circulating around the three sides of the nation's triangle, creating harmony and balance. So let us hold this potent visualization for a minute, seeing the planetary heart center Geneva as the harmonizing eye within the triangle. And let us also reflect for a moment on the Aquarian souls of USA and Russia, whose Dharma is to lead humanity into the Aquarian age. We pour the light of our group soul through the three cities of those nations: New York City, Statue of Liberty, London, Big Ben, Moscow, the old buildings, Moscow. Nourishing them with the energy of love wisdom, the soul ray of the Western Hemisphere. Visualizing the indigo blue love wisdom circulating through these three cities: New York, London, Moscow. And as we do so, we note the increased vibrancy of the forces circulating around the nation's triangle. And we briefly ponder upon the mottos for those nations. USA, I light the way. Britain, I serve. Russia, I link two ways. Now we recall this beautiful image of the great fountain at Geneva, Planetary Heart Center, as a synthesizing center within the three nations triangle and for Europe as a whole. The eye in the triangle. We see Geneva's mighty fountain as a symbol of its first ray soul and of spiritual aspiration, reaching heavenward, of the blood that pumps powerfully through the planetary heart. And of course, we see that fluid pumping around all planetary centers, to Darjeeling, to New York City, London, Tokyo. As we hold this visualization, we proceed to the great invocation. from the point of light within the mind of God. Let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out. May it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Hold. Thank you very much. I now invite our friend Gabbay from Germany to run through the second meditation as we did yesterday. Welcome, Uta.
Hello, friends. To our second day, welcome. So from the big picture, let us now ground well in our group, in our service unit, so we can do our work. Yesterday, we laid the foundation. We did a beautiful, gradual process of weaving the group field. I think we could all feel towards the end of the day, especially in our sharing session at the end, that, we have built a harmonious meditative atmosphere. And we shared in this atmosphere the fruits of the day. So for today, let us weave our group basket a bit more tightly, because it will have to carry more weight today as we will be looking deeper, especially also into the problems, the conflict, into our different viewpoints. So it may be more challenging for our emotional poise and more taxing for our patience and concentration. So let's take just a moment now to affirm together our intent to unity, to the process of unification in ourselves and as a group. Let us touch a moment into our deep heart, between the shoulder blades. This place where love and will unite. And from this place, let us join our hearts, standing together in the will to love, no matter what. And bringing our minds into telepathic resonance. Feeling this telepathic field that we are holding more and more, standing as a group of souls under our common purpose, working for higher order in Europe. And attuning to our ashramic co-workers. And let us hold this channel open and vibrant as we start now our work for the second day. The group heart, group mind, group soul, the ashramic group, and the master. So, ready for the day. Thank you.